So you? You jumped it off last time.
Bet. Good.
Bro said you don't know what you're doing. Let me get that. Let me get that.
Good morning. Y'all already know what time it is. Once again, you are tuned in with two men just having a real conversation. We don't got the name of the podcast, but most definitely and for sure, you're going to get you some substance. So if you got any ideas you want to give us, you can drop them in the comment section. Let us know. They count as engagement, so all that count. And most definitely, before we even get started, like, share, and hit that subscribe button. You are now tuned in. Dear Son Network.
What to do? D. John's in the building.
How you feeling?
I feel good, man. Kids out of school today, so I don't have the ripping and running to do like I normally do. So we good, man. How you feeling?
I'm great. And my Travis told me the kids was out of school today. What's it for?
It wasn't cold enough days. They got snow days built in, and if you don't use them, they start, I guess, like liquidating them over time at certain points.
Oh, okay.
So I think they only use 2 of maybe the 5 that they get. So yeah. I found out yesterday that my kids didn't have school today.
Okay.
Which made sense because my son's, the Valentine's party they had was on Wednesday, and we didn't send them with nothing. We thought Friday they would do it, but they came home yesterday. My oldest son was like, I got a 4-day weekend. I said, nah, you off Monday.
Yeah.
But tomorrow you...
Yeah.
He said, nah. I said, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. When Travis hit me yesterday, it seemed like he got that same surprise. I think he just found out yesterday. He was like, man, they ain't got school tomorrow.
It's like they told the kids first.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we locked in, man. And my guy, everybody go subscribe to the channel. Talking to my people on YouTube.
They in here too.
This is our fifth?
5th recorded, 3rd for this particular series.
For this,
the Unnamed series. So again, drop some comments. Some comments came through for the last couple of videos. Some decent names, but we're still looking.
Yeah. And it's been good conversation, man. Good chemistry, and we plan on continue to grow. And we just sit down and we don't really plan what we finna talk about, but normally through the week things happen. And this week something happened.
Let's talk about it. First, we're talking about what you made happen. We're talking about the world, because the world be serving us topics, but you kind of cooked up a topic yourself.
Give us what the world gave us, and then I'm gonna go to the topic.
The world gave us a Super Bowl. But that news cycle is kind of done with the whole Kendrick. And I'm not being dismissive. Somebody told me my tone was dismissive in the last podcast. I said I got to go back and check myself. So you dismissive to the black people? The blacks? Me? Nah, never.
What exactly do you feel they meant by that?
I asked them.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the return. I was like, I'm D. Johns, right?
Yeah.
Like, I won't really cooking up no controversy.
Right.
Anyhow, I love it though, because when they talking, they talking.
Oh yeah. Any kind of conversation is good conversation, good or bad, especially when you're talking about the internet.
And I'm not attached to it, so my skin thick, my head big. I done heard it all.
Mine's big too. I was gonna take my head out real quick and let y'all see, but my hair ain't cut. And it's a little thin at the top. But I did come up with a hot topic, man.
Hot cooking.
It on fire.
Cooked up.
I felt like I was finna get cancer, bro.
There was some comments suggesting that.
I was most definitely like, but I was like, you know what? If they run off, I feel like you was never with me from the beginning, because I done said a lot of things that done, I guess, been offensive in certain areas.
Yeah. But here's the flip side of that.
Yeah.
I just connected with you.
Yeah.
I said, am I down the toilet too?
Oh,
I ain't even up yet. They didn't flush before they peed.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because when you connected to people, you got to be aware of that.
I'm fine with it. This ain't haphazard.
Yeah. But I hit the conversation of Section 8. And in the post, I said, I got some people that I love dearly that's on Section 8. But I said, if you've been on it for all of this time, man, I said become a millionaire. But basically, when I'm saying become a millionaire, I'm saying if you ain't got to a stable place in your life, I said, get out. Put them out. Then, lastly, I said, Facebook, do your thing. And I put the money mark. I put the money emoji.
So I'm still learning. What that mean?
That meant I done it.
Serve them up?
Because I knew it was going to start a conversation.
Okay. I said Facebook, do. I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
got my popcorn.
I knew it was gonna go crazy, but I do feel like in context, what I was saying was, if you've been taking advantage of the system, as black people, the first thing we run to is they've been doing it.
Yeah, true.
But when you say they been doing it, they did it and got up. You did it and stayed in the same predicament over a course of 10 years.
Why do we use they as such a convenience? Like we use they to backtrack, to backpedal out of anything that we don't want to take accountability for.
Man, come on.
Why is that the barometer for our life? They did it.
Entitlement, man. I think it stems from we want to feel entitled to everything with no accountability whatsoever. Whatever we do is justified in the name of they.
They. I never met they.
I don't know who they is neither. I know who they
be around, but I ain't never seen them.
I ain't never seen them. Honestly, even in that conversation, there are some of us who believe we can't even use that no more because we're in a generation now where if you're choosing to do something with your life, you can do it. You can get up. You can become, even though we know systematic racism still exists, but we don't have those walls and gaps and bridges that's really keeping us from becoming more to that extent as it did back then. You agree?
More access to information, more access to resources, and what I'm learning through, content picking up in terms of what's happening in the comments is that people read the words that they care to read. Because your whole point was if you're taking advantage of it, and I actually saw people showing up in the comments saying, yeah, I took advantage of it. System crazy. It would allow you to do that. Mm-hmm. And I have family too. Mm-hmm. So if that makes it clearer on as to what side or to what my sensitivity is, I definitely have family that's been on it too, that's been on it for several kids. And that's a way of life. And it's almost like the kids see that as a way of life for them as well. I think that's what you're talking about is when you adopt it as a lifestyle, mm-hmm. not as a stepping stone or as a help. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs help. Mm-hmm. Most people, I don't do the whole self-made thing. I stay away from people. Are you self-made?
No.
Okay, cool. Because we have to end this right now. Because I don't. There's too much arrogance for me, and I know for a fact what the part that God has to play in anything that's going to be long, that has some longevity. So it's not about people not needing help and help being bad for people. Mm-hmm. But if you adopt it as I'm planning my life, or I'm planning how I'm gonna have kids around this, I'm planning how I'm gonna interact with, the world around this thing. That's why.
Man, commercial break me one time for the one time.
One time.
See, that's really why I mess with you, bro. You articulate well your thought process. That's why he said you dismissive to the black community. I don't even understand what you very thoughtful in the things you say. You can tell you educated. You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't already locked into the podcast, y'all already know what time it is. Go hit that button and go lock into the podcast, man.
One time?
This network. By the time it started spinning out of control, sometimes I'll delete it, but it don't be because I can't handle the backlash.
Right.
It be because I don't like when conversations spiral out of control with no context.
Yeah.
And regardless of what you say, now you have a war going on with people who seeing other people they agree with and automatically think this conversation is leaning towards we versus us having coming to a common ground or coming to an understanding. It's just done spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll delete it and then people will jump in my inbox and say, you deleted it. You could apologize. No, that ain't why I deleted it. I stand on what I said. But I took the time with this one like I do sometimes. And I went through and I guess hear people out. People brought up disability. That's out of context. I never said that.
What?
People brought up people who are poor. It was out of context. I never said that. People brought up people with children and all of these other. I never said none of those things. I said in context. People who are taking advantage. So this is my question to you, DJ. Do you agree that it's okay to be on government assistance of any kind and it's designed to help you get ahead, but you still have the same lifestyle? You still buying Jordans, you can't afford them. You still partying, you can't afford them. You still traveling, you can't afford it. You still got all these things in your shopping cart and you can't afford it. But you've been on this government assistance for all of this time, and you're spending your money in the name of now you want to blame the system because I guess they enabled you in a sense, because now you don't even realize
they forced that behavior on you.
They forced that baby on you, and now do you agree with the mindset?
Ooh-wee. I thought you was going somewhere else, like they're on it and then the rug gets pulled out from under and what do they do? But you're saying that they're actually blaming the system for the mindset that they've adopted. That's wild.
I actually had somebody hit me up.
That is,
yeah.
That is unaccountability at its finest.
At its finest.
That's so I can get it in a parent-child relationship where the child is totally dependent. The child has not reached an age of reason where they can think things through for themselves and understand responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, to be on that program and to blame the program for your bad behaviors, when you're and I wonder for some how many of it is continuing a lifestyle or seeing this help as a come up and then going into that lifestyle. Now I got the money to buy the Jordans. Now I got the money to buy those things. And I get what the culture does in terms of suggesting that having a thing gives you status. Like when I got older, I bought all the Jordans that I never could have because my parents wouldn't buy. That thing, I get it.
Right.
But I worked. And then I did that with the money that was after the bills and all of that. So to suggest that I am this way because you helped me and I didn't take the time or the accountability to help myself during that period is a wild take for me.
Yeah.
I can't get it.
I saw people in the comments bring up that the program is designed to the point of where if you make a certain amount of money, they'll cut it off.
Yeah.
When I'm reading that, this goes to the conversation of, I guess when I was saying you should be a millionaire, not saying literally that you should be further along, they were saying that the program is not designed that way because after you. Now, when it comes to black folks, this is where I feel some type of way. Because I know plenty of people on Section A, and you don't supposed to have multiple people. You don't supposed to have certain people living with you. You on Section A, you got 2-3 other people living with you with jobs. You probably got somebody in there to do hair, do nails. You got a side hustle. But you want to keep bringing up that one stipulation that's in the black and white. But we ain't having a conversation about how many years you been there and you got your tax money. 5, 6, 7 years in a row. And you done got 6,700, 10,000. And then the other 2 people living with you got. So around tax time every year, you got about $10,000, $15,000 in the house.
But before you actually get your tax, like they'll advance you this money.
Yeah.
The tax places will advance you $3,000 to $5,000 depending on what your situation is.
And in that conversation, everybody was.
So here's the thing, bro. If like I get running game, I get a play. But if you're gonna be in the game, you can't be mad at the rules that come with the game.
Right.
That's like when people are mad when IG is acting up or Facebook. That's free. This is something given to you to use. You haven't invested in anything other than your time that you're willing, to exchange information with other people. But if something is given to you to help you get ahead and you choose not to, when that thing is pulled away, like what are we talking? And again, this is not about for those that actually need it. This is about for those that are running. I think we got to keep saying that. Those that keep running game on the system.
No, you have to. You have to, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, man. When it comes to taking things out, people want all the conversations to be one. It was some stories on there that touched my heart when it came to disability. I was watching people respond to the people with disabilities. And let me tell you something. I apologize to anybody who felt like, you know what I'm saying, I was taking a shot. I could say that. But at the same time, I know that ain't where my heart was. Now, let's have an accountability conversation, because I turned around and did a live on it and I brought up a lot of scripture. And I saw people still respond, very few respond and say things like, the Most High is for the poor. We're supposed to help the poor. A lot of people were saying that I was lacking humility. a lot of people was talking about do all things in love.
Mm-hmm.
And in those conversations, I still saw a lack of accountability,
Mm-hmm.
using the scripture to benefit the narrative of how they feel at the time versus applying in the context of what I was saying. There are several scriptures that will go with laziness, slack hand,
Mm-hmm.
poverty, and it'll also talk about mindsets. If you're saying you believe, because what I was saying, if you're saying you believe in the king, you're saying you believe in the word, then you believe in the new man, the new mindset, becoming a doer. You believe in applying yourself. Where go ahead.
That's the key word, applying yourself.
Where do we get off on trying to put God in a more natural human sense, going to the he understand everything, that you can take advantage of him in every single way, do what you want to do, how you want to do it, and then cry wolf and say, we're poor. No. You are able body. You're the way you articulate things and do things to get over on the system. Just imagine what you could do if you use that same energy. Because I'm one of them. So when I speak about it, I'm coming from a place of I was a product of my environment. I turned what was perverted to use it for good.
Yeah.
And got better results.
Yeah. I think sometimes we confuse free will with God's will. We try to make the way we are, we blame it on God. Like God made you anyway. That's not necessarily the way that you are. Because we deviate from his word and from his will. So to suggest that whatever situation you're in is because God wants you to be in that situation, I can't jack that one. That's one thing that's always been clear to me, is that when my life is out of whack, specifically with his will, I never had the audacity to say that God has me here.
Oh, that's real.
God is with me while I'm here. I put myself in a situation. I'm not saying God doesn't put you in certain situations. If you look at Paul and all of those individuals, the disciples in the Bible, they clearly, he had them go through some things. I don't think that's necessarily the case with us all the time. Like I made these decisions that got me where I'm at, even today. And, as we go through our conversations, that people understand more about my life and how sweet it isn't. But these are, I've always had the mindset of being accountable. And maybe it's because of my foundation and my upbringing that I can't blame God for my decisions. I can ask for his help and assistance to guide me out of them, because I can't get myself out of this. But to suggest that wherever you are in life as a collection of things that you have done willingly is what God did to you, I'm not with it.
No go.
Not with it.
If that's the case, then we don't think there's a consequence to disobedience.
Right. Yeah.
If you would have to have that conversation about your health. You would have to have that conversation about your
story.
Friends. Yeah. You would have to have that conversation about your spouse. You would have to have all of these conversations and exclude not heeding. Let's just go with health. I've been drinking a lot of tea with natural herbs that help with headaches, anxiety, inflammation, a lot of things. And I can honestly say I feel better. I feel my mind is clear, my body, you know what I'm saying, my energy. And after all of these years of doing it the way I've been doing it, a lot of this stuff is not healthy for me. So to wake up and say, man, I don't feel good, and just keep doing it, that's how am I get to blame God for that? Versus versus him telling me how to eat. Same thing with my finances. I have a lineage of people who mismanage funds.
Well, you're on my street.
I'm talking about awful with money.
Talking about me. Awfully done with finances and health. Last year, for the first time, I really thought I was on my way to death. And my dad, we were on a FaceTime call one night, which is not anything out of the ordinary. But he looked at me and he said, "Son, you remind me of how my father looked when he was dying." My dad is telling me this like face to face, like, through the video, but on the phone. I'm like,
cut and dry.
I'm like, wait a minute, you got better words than that, bro. I mean, your son looked like he dying, and I had to respect it because he lost his dad when my dad was 20 and his dad was 46. I'm 45. I think I was 44 at the time. So he was saying, you're coming into that window. These things happen in our family. What are you doing? And it wasn't like the one day he got on the phone, he said, like, my health was declining over time and we're rebounding now. But it was a culmination of the lifestyle I was living that I actually knew better than.
Yeah.
And then I stopped going to the doctor. I stopped accepting the information. I stopped seeking the information because ignorance is bliss. It'll take you to your grave, but you enjoy it on the way, right? So these are all things that I did. So now when I go back to the doctor and they say, you're in save organ mode, not healthy mode. We don't want you to lose organs because diabetic. Yeah. It's like, we don't want you to lose organs over this thing. And all the things that kept replaying to me was, I had a chance. In 2018, God gave me a chance. Like I went to the doctor and they thought I was on my way to a diabetic coma. I actually drove to that doctor's office. Yeah. They wouldn't let me drive home. So I changed my lifestyle then, diet and exercise, came off medicine, but then I relapsed.
So it was working?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, diet and exercise. It was like, I'm not pro medicine. This is not advice, but I know for my life, I was able to control it with diet and exercise. And I was getting to it 5 times a week, I cut a bunch of stuff out of my diet, but I started feeling myself. It was me doing it. Then I relapsed. 1 week off becomes 2 weeks, becomes a month, becomes half a year. My weight was going back up. I told you I almost used to be 300 pounds at one time. Yeah. So it was, when you come to those low points and you realize that, like, your natural instinct is to be angry at somebody. You typically don't want to be angry at you first. Yeah. So you choose the people around you, you lash out, or you take it to God as, God, why are you allowing, why'd you do this to me? But I had to be honest with myself that all these you had a chance and you effed it up. And now you have no excuse. Yeah. And the thing is, now the rebound is harder because I'm older. So I didn't mean to go long-winded on that, but like,
that was heavy.
Yeah, you never know what somebody's struggle is, and that's the thing when we're talking about that. I hope people are mindful of is, you're only talking about one subject at a time. So when people jump in the comments and start bringing other parts of life into it, well, are you doing it? Okay, we'll get to that at some point. But right now we're talking about this thing, so don't take this one thing and pit it against every other thing that somebody else might be doing wrong.
Not for real. Yeah, that was heavy, man. I'm glad you shared that. You said you said on both roles, the finances too?
Damn, I didn't screw some. Bro.
You and me both. You and me both.
I mean, and to have it's so me losing my employment was not on me. We got bought out by out by another company, and I was pretty much at the top of my organization. That's what happens. The company that buys you makes the decisions. We want to keep these people. So that happened. But even then, I had an opportunity to do something great. Yeah. And I chose to chill. Yeah. In my mind, I was saying, I'm going to be this entrepreneur and I'm going to do this thing. But I saw the bank account. And as foolish as it is, it didn't click to me until that number dropped below. It's like, whoa. Wait a minute. We got 3 months of money left. Whoa. Yeah. We ain't. Then my wife went back to work. So I know that's a first world problem, and it seems like, I would love to have that problem. Problems are problems, people.
Most definitely.
And when you got a family of 7, and you're the only provider, like that's a heavy thing on me every day. Every day.
7, I know it's heavy.
So if you wonder why D. Johns he be on it. I'm trying to get back.
No, that's real.
I'll try to recover.
I respect that. I respect that. Going back to the Section 8, when you said it's 3 months worth of, it's people who've had 5 years to get in a position you watched over time. Now you're in a panic. For one, let me say this before I say that. when I say that, Black people automatically make it a conversation only about them, as if Hispanics, whites, and other people are not in this conversation, and then they make it like you're constantly downing your own people. If I'm right, I think I looked at the statistics. There may be more white people,
on it,
in his than blacks.
What, I'm sorry to,
No, go ahead.
because that spans the block to my, like, why does that matter? Whatever the stat is for them, historically hasn't benefited us in any sense.
Facts.
That's like saying I identify as. I identify as a middle-aged white man that's a millionaire with an 850 credit score. What does that get me by saying that?
Nothing.
I can't take that to the bank and
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So like I get it, be aware of it. I'm not completely aloof to other people are taking advantage of the system, but how does that matter if when you were in prison and your defense was, but he committed a crime too? What did that get you?
Nothing. Nothing. I think it stemmed back to them wanting a sense of entitlement and a sense of awareness of knowing majority of us are taking advantage, knowing the majority of us in that conversation, not Black people in a hole, because I already know they'll run off on me. In that predicament, have not made or even tried to. Y'all know I ain't scared of you. Tried to make the best of that situation. Now, I got friends and family members that listen to me, that has been on this thing for years, raised generations on this thing. It was one lady who brought up, well, I guess you don't care about if they kick them out and kids being homeless. I said, we can have 2 conversations about that.
I think I know one.
I said, I can bring up the conversation and say, if they stay, the mindset still awful going into later on in the future, being in a worse predicament or whatever the case may be. That's a 2-way conversation. It's a lose-lose. Whether they homeless or stay there, they still lost and then becoming a product of the environment. I'm talking about the drugs, the alcohol, all the other things that come in that conversation. You just want to talk about them being homeless because the parent misleading ain't taking it like
the able-bodied, capable parent. Again, because we're not talking about people that are special assistants
in the context.
But because the other part of that maybe it's the third side of that conversation I thought you were gonna go to is what is the onus of that parent for not getting that child out of that situation over the 5 or 6 years that you've been able-bodied to do some stuff.
Exactly.
People, I saw people talking about in their comments calculating how much money they can make to stay under. So I quit my job at this time. Or I made sure that I started working in this month and stopped working in that month. I think that's the heart of what you're talking about. And if you're going to run game, you got to take what the game give you.
You got to take what the game give you. And I saw several women in there who talked about seeing that and was like, I'm getting off of it. It was one lady, I read it this morning. She said she makes 6 figures a year now. She realized, no, I'm finna get off of this. I think she said she had multiple businesses. And she said this would have never happened had I not left Section 8, realizing what she was capable of doing versus saying, I don't have to do as much. I'm gonna keep quitting these jobs. I'm gonna quit. And then your kids in Jordans. You got designer. All these things. I would love to ask people who are on Section 8 that are taking advantage. If we calculated your finances over the course of a year, your miscellaneous spending, and how much that is, and how many times you didn't say no to going out, to traveling, or to your kids who's not understanding the value and the importance of how to budget and how to save. Because it's a lot of parents who we talking about in the context, because I'm going to take this as taking advantage. Not being you ain't parenting in a healthy way by saying yes, 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 knowing you can put that money back. Jordan's 150. You probably buying 6 or 7 of them a year. A LLC is that same amount.
Less than.
Less than. You can get an LLC if I'm recalling right now. I think through Taylor Brand. So I'm gonna give you some game too, because a lot of people be trying to say you saying all this, but what you doing to help? You can get a LLC, let's say for $750. You can then go to irs.gov, get your EIN for free. Then from there you can go open up a business bank account. Once you get the business bank account, I know a lot of people then gonna turn around and say, "Well, don't your credit gotta be?"
Business credit.
I didn't hire no credit guru to rebuild my credit. My credit score when I started fixing my credit was like a 610. I got Experian, which was $35, which to me is an investment.
Yeah, to monitor.
If I'll pay for subscriptions on Netflix and all this, but I won't invest $35 to go in here where I can report and dispute myself, because that's the only thing the credit guru are doing. The letters that they writing, they finding these templates and information online, and they just mailing them. It take 15 minutes. You could go and repair your credit, get the LLC, get the EIN, get the business bank account, repair your own credit. Take the money that you making, if you got a side hustle or your job, go take $300-400 out of your account, go deposit it in your bank account. It's gonna show us cash flow as a deposit. Over the course of 6 months, if you've been doing your research, if you want to start a business or you want to do something, do your research on whatever it is you want to do in the process of you making them deposits. Go to the bank, get you a $5,000-10,000 loan to start up. But that ain't gonna help you if you have the same mindset about money when the bank give it to you. Because you gonna think, man, I ain't had this opportunity, so I'm gonna have me a little fun first.
The business Jordans. These the Jordans for the business.
Yeah, and then and then you gonna realize, yeah, you've been using your bank credit card for write-offs with the food and some of the clothes and this and that. But then you gonna look up and realize you ain't got no money to start the business. And now you in debt. And now you having another conversation talk about how they done you wrong.
Let me give you a hack to something that you said, because that when you said it hurt my heart. When you said $750 for the LLC. To form an LLC in any state is typically with the State Corporation Commission.
Mm-hmm.
The fee associated with the application is minimum in every state.
Mm.
That other, so I know in Virginia it was 100 because that's what I'm familiar with. I think in Texas it might have been somewhere between 1 and 150.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on top of that, with that other 750, is the company creating a form that matches the form that the state has, where you just input the information.
Wow.
And you gave them $500.
Wow.
To just input that. Only the form filed can get you the LLC.
Wow.
It doesn't matter who does it. It does, and then they'll sell you an embossed stamp for $300 upgrade and all. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah.
Do your research, but
so I could start that company. I could do that for people who don't like to do their research for themselves. Basically,
convenience pays.
Convenience pays.
Yeah, that LLC game, I found that out like when I was trying to start business. I didn't have a excess. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was just trying to figure. Like, I'm the type that first time I bought a house and I realized we paid a commission, I went and did the real estate course.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why are we paying you? Like, I felt like I did a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
Why are you getting 3% or 6% of this transaction? So I'm that type. Same with insurance.
Mm-hmm.
When it became insurance producer, like I go through the, like, how does this actually work?
Right.
And do I want to do it? So when I was getting down to that level of research, like I said, in Virginia was 100. I want to say Texas is about the same, but only filing that form gets you an LLC. It's nothing special that the other people do. The only information they can ask you for is the information on that form.
And
they might ask you some other stuff to upsell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the embossed stamp, or you want the operating agreement, all that stuff makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you got all of that, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got the where they do like the annual filing, and they take care of what they told me. You know, they just make sure it's functioning. It was a one-time fee.
Yeah.
And then of course they done came up with the BOI thing. Yeah, man. Yeah, the conversation about the Section 8 housing struck a nerve, man. And I do want to say to get to the compassion part. Now, only place I have compassion, even when we talking about the mindsets, is I do as a believer have an obligation to do that we all do. To also, I should show compassion. I'm supposed to show compassion to those who are just still in ignorance or unaware of what they can do because nobody has given them game or nobody has took their hand and showed them. A lot of times I can be, I don't get a benefit of the doubt because I had to figure it out. Like I understand, but I didn't. When I come home, bro, I had 10 outfits for a year. I wore the same 10 outfits for 365 days. To this day, I still cut my own hair. I had 2 pair of shoes for the whole 365 days because I didn't have the mat. I knew nobody's, how can I expect somebody to give me the game when I'm conscious that nobody around, everybody's a product of environment. Nobody has the game. There ain't business owners. There ain't people who financially, I see with my eyes.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing the exact same thing they always done. How is it that I feel some type of way, even when it comes to support? I didn't have it in my mind that my people gonna support me. My mind was to reach the world.
Right.
So I do understand, but at the same time, I probably can come off a little harsh at times because I'm like, what is it gonna take for you to wake up and realize the help ain't coming?
Yeah.
And for you to utilize your time. I watch YouTube and learn how to repair my credit within a period, I'm gonna say about 2 to 4 hours. A lot of times that's hard for people to do now because you watching 30-second clips of nonsense, toxicity, and drama.
But they do that for 2 hours.
And you do it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But the minute something educational come on, it seems like so hard on your flesh to receive it. So you rather go get entertained. I did it. But don't think for 1 second, D-John too, we don't say things when it's about trying to better ourselves or our community, our people, in a sense of lack of compassion or lack of understanding. It's really just a passion of, man, wake up.
Yeah.
Let's quit having these same conversations. And what we doing?
Even in the corporate setting, which was where I lived my life, most of my adult life, when I became a manager, my challenge was I wanted more for people than they wanted for themselves. That's my attitude throughout all of life.
That's real.
And what I had to realize in that particular setting is people were comfortable being where they were, and that was fine for them. I don't think that's applicable in the Section 8 conversation because I'm talking about able-bodied people that are working. They just don't want to work beyond their current capacity. And it was frustrating to me. Like I was like, man, how did you not want my job? Not that it was glamorous, but my whole thing was I'm trying to push my boss to his or her next role because that opens up something for me.
That's real.
I'm not trying to get them out of there. I'm trying to get them to wherever that next thing is for them. If that happens to be out and they want to be out, cool. But like I'm always pushing and pulling. And sometimes people don't want to go with you. And I guess that's where they get the whole everybody can't go. But another thing that you were talking about in terms of showing compassion, my pop told me one time, he said, sometimes hurts help. Like you gotta feel life at some point.
Yeah.
And it was in the context of shielding my family and my children, like we were talking about with the whole farming and all of that thing. But it was like an aha moment, like coddling people all the way through life does nothing for the people that are coddled.
Man, bro.
Absolutely hurts them. And then they get mad. I think that's where you are in the cycle. They get mad at you for calling it what it is.
I'm taking the pacifier or the bottle out of the baby mouth.
Yeah.
It's and in them conversations, it's so conflicting, bro, because it's like, I'm for you. Like I'm literally for you. Like seriously, the book of Acts, I think it's chapter 3, when they came by and everybody, he was asking for silver and gold, and people was getting it to him. They said, man, silver and gold, I ain't got it. In the name of Yeshua, raise up and walk.
Yeah.
That's an example of enabling.
Such as I have, give I thee.
Yeah. There are people in situations that I literally just like, nah, I ain't gonna keep doing that. It's cool. Live your life. It's a vibe or it's a mood or you living your best life. Like those terms are crippling our community because people are taking this literal, But then when the government make changes and make shifts and snatch things from under you, your first thing to do is cry and you're in panic. But
which is a real emotion, but
yeah, it's exactly it's a real emotion, man. And I'm cool with taking them hits, but I don't like when people think I have a lack of compassion or humility. But sometimes when I read them and they talk about compassion, bro, I think I literally be like, that's you want to do whatever you want to do.
yeah.
You don't like correction, you don't like accountability, you don't like hearing about yourself. So the first thing to do is deflect. And then you got so many people that doing the same thing. That conversation look like you right.
Be careful. If you always right around your squad,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, always 100% of the time, you always right. That's probably more of a cage than it is a circle.
It most definitely is.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I value not being the smartest person in the room because I know what it feels like to have to be the smartest person for a specific thing
Mm-hmm.
in a room.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my angst in corporate. It's like, man, I gotta always be on, gotta always have the answer, always be able to get to the answer when they don't.
Ooh.
But they not having the answer didn't give me a bonus.
Right.
So the activity was on me, man. And you talk about true hurts and compassion and gentleness and all that. Remember Jesus raised that whip in the temple when they turned it into a marketplace.
Man.
Things get out of hand and require correction.
They do. And when it comes to the word, I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything.
Me neither.
The conversations I do have, I feel okay in having them because I'll read, I'll do my research, I'll do my due diligence. And the more and more people, I'm just like, who been teaching you? Who been discipling you? Who you been sitting under this shepherd?
Yeah.
That's your shepherd. All these conversations come up in my head when I watch, because we know the scripture, our people destroyed because of lack of knowledge.
Yep, people's perish.
And you use that when
and have access to a bunch of,
and you got access to it. But then when somebody put the mirror up, that scripture, you don't want to talk about that no more. You don't want to say that this applied to what's going on. You don't want to talk about, like I was saying a while ago, you don't want to talk about the poverty, the mindset. But then if you want to go back and look at the word, after disobedience and they came out, I'm not a prosperity minister by far, but the Most High people were always in a great position when he brought them out of captivity or their disobedience, when they were getting in order.
Yeah.
They always were in a better place. That comes with applying at the same time, because we also have examples of when Moses went in and brought them out of Egypt. We saw them in that wilderness complaining, murmuring,
40 years.
and we saw a recurrence because they were walking in
the
a circle.
40 years.
But if you bring that up in a conversation like this, it only fit you when you're trying to cope with something that's going on personal in your life.
Oof.
Not as a collective whole. You're not seeing, we have a majority of a collective whole going in a circle.
We at some point, man, we gotta talk about these personalized religions. And even if religion is not the right word, like people have, well, you don't know my God. My God don't play. That's cool. But the God has some rules and some standards. And to the extent that you are bending and trying to mold them to fit your situation, that's what it is. Trying to bend and mold his standards, because it's not even about religion. His standards to fit your situation, because that's the cool thing to do and it makes you feel better. Great get up morning gonna be a shock.
Bogus, man. Bogus. I do want to say, man, it's always great to have these conversations. I know you share this same thought. I'm for my people. I'm cool with agreeing to disagree. I don't like when we agree to disagree and separate and we divide it.
Yeah.
I could see something completely different from you. It does not mean we can't be together. We can have the most uncomfortable conversation. I am so big on, and maybe it come from being neglected growing up or rejection growing up or seeing that what that does. I'm big on that was uncomfortable. I might not, well, I love you. I care about you. I don't want us to not. I'd rather not. We can just not have that conversation
Again, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can just leave that where it's at until, unless it's a, you know what, let's revisit it and not, you know what I'm saying? I don't like having conversations that end up in canceled conversations.
Yeah. Somebody should learn, or both should learn.
And it's so interesting in this cancel culture. It was a man in the comments, bro said, bro, I've been riding with you for years and I be respecting a lot of stuff, but this right here, it's over with, bro. I'm following you. I'm gone. And when I looked at that, I said, I've been home for 8 years. It took one thing you disagree with to, and them people, I really, like I said, I don't think you were with me from the jump. It's no way, even over the course of the last few weeks we've been doing this, I feel like I'm a good judge of character, especially when it comes, bro, you dope.
Likewise.
Like you a solid guy. It's no way, whether we on the phone or a post or a video I seen, that I strongly disagree with something that you said, where I'll be like, man, I ain't fooling with DJ no more. Ain't no way. Bro, you have so much to offer me. I can stay away from that conversation and say, man, no, we can still feed each other as a.
But here's the thing about me though, because what my responsibility is to that is I can be corrected. You just got to point to it. Because if we talking opinion for opinion, we can go a 24-hour a-thon, your opinion versus my opinion, and neither of us will back down. But that's not the point. My point, just like I used to tell my team, I don't necessarily care about you being right, because the department that I managed was always thought of like a roadblock, because we had to do things by the rules. We're a government contractor. We're spending taxpayers' dollars. So there's very specific rules that you got to abide by to do that. Somebody else that doesn't care about those rules say, hey, go do this right now. You're like, I can get it done by, you know, 72 hours. We got to go through this process. And I would tell my team, even when they're frustrated, I don't care about you being right. I care about the right thing being done.
Ooh, that's real.
So if you have to get our internal customer to say what you've been saying the whole time so that it clicks for them, that's the win.
That's the win.
I know you know.
That's the win.
I'm not tripping off of you forcing everybody to know how smart you are.
Yeah.
We got to get to the right thing. That's how we get to the money.
Yeah.
So that's just how I kind of carry things in life. Bro. So I can be wrong, bro. Like, and that's the thing with, like, I've heard a lot of scripture. What I'm understanding now is that scriptures are contextual too. Speaking to a people at a time. I'm not saying that there's no validity for it then, but you got to, when you start proof texting, I'm going to take these words because I heard them over here and apply it to this situation, and it sound good to the person that doesn't know. I'm the type that, even if I don't disagree with you right now, I'm like, man, I need to go look at that. He said that verse was in Acts. That's how I process things. I'm not gonna say, Joe, you wrong. I'm like, I think it's an Acts. Like, I don't know either. I know the verse is in there, but I'm gonna go look at it. So we can have that conversation, man. It's just I think people, and this is a common word we use, are triggered by their insecurities or their deficiencies, especially when they know they had a chance to be better than they are. If you say, yo, I got this investment, man, I need your 5. You called me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at, why are you bringing this to me now?
Right.
And
right.
It happened now. You got to be prepared for now. So I'm, like I said, I'm very in tune with who I am and who I'm not.
Yeah, and that takes maturity. It takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of self-evaluation. Self-evaluation is can be hard on you when you having them, when you correcting yourself eternally. When you actually telling you know you're wrong. You know that's
That's the hardest part about that mirror.
Yeah. And I love the mirror, man. I'm gonna ride out and end with that one, man. That mirror, The mirror is your friend.
Yeah.
If you having the right dialogue, it's not there. It shouldn't hurt you to tell yourself no, or you wrong, or I don't think I would become who I am first and foremost without him. But him is the mirror. He is my mirror. Behavior, thought pattern, heart, those things come from, he is a mirror. And you know what I'm saying? And
that's the essence of Dear Son Network. And it's, I can show you where it's written down, but the premise initially was, and still is, to be a mirror to my community. That's what these conversations are.
Wow.
So whether it's about the father, the son, son, the father, husband, the wife, like we want to spark conversation. I don't care if you arrive at a determination from a clip, from a reel. And I was not getting into it, but this pastor was exchanging stuff with me on one of the platforms. I'm like, we provoke thought. If you got a minute and 30 seconds and came to a conclusion, you're an easy sell, number one. I don't get to a conclusion in a minute 30 seconds unless I'm very well versed.
Right.
Like if you came and said something about the world that I was in corporate, and you gave me a minute 30 seconds of information, I could.
That's real.
Yeah. I do this. I'm on that.
Right.
I'm poking holes. This is Or you're right, but that's why I like this platform. And I know it's slow bubbles because it's not sensationalized and it's not doing what everybody else is doing. I think everybody else is taking, bro. I'm cool with when it pop.
Man, but y'all already know what it is, man. I'm rocking with Dijon, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you got it.